I like that.
Hello everyone, my name is Saad and I'm here to speak to you guys about hybrid cars. A little background information, the Toyota Prius was introduced in Japan in 1997 and later globally in 2001. Currently, the Toyota Prius holds about, there are currently of all the hybrid cars on the market today, 70% of them are Toyota Priuses. And what I wanted to impose on you is that the introduction of hybrid vehicles has failed to yield considerable benefits overall. And my 2 points are that the production of hybrid batteries is damaging to the environment, and the production of hybrid cars is very costly. And to go into more detail, the mining of rare earth elements for battery components is damaging to the environment. Especially for mining for rare earth elements, it creates carbon dioxide, which further it adds on to the greenhouse effect, which leads to global warming. And the mining of rare earth elements disturbs the area around it, and which leads me to a point in an article, Prius does Hummer in environmental damage. The author states that the nickel that's used in hybrid batteries is mined and smelted at a plant in Sudbury, Ontario. The plant has caused so much environmental damage to the surrounding environment that NASA has used the dead zone around the plant to test moon rovers. The area around the plant is devoid of any life for miles. My second point is that the production of hybrid batteries itself is harmful to the environment. And the plant where the production process happens releases harmful gases into the air, therefore adds on to the greenhouse effects. The after products of depleted hybrid batteries are very harmful to the environment, and currently there is no cost-effective way to dispose of them. So, at least to my other point that the production of hybrid cars is very costly. My first point is that the mining of rare earth elements is very costing, and the cost of rare earth elements is becoming exponentially more costly due to the high demand. And the Chinese government currently holds a monopoly. And according to the author of the article "Rare Earth Metals and Hybrid Cars," China currently controls 95% of the world's extractable rare earth elements supplies for the hybrid battery market. And my second point is that the production costs of the electric motor are very expensive, and the metals used in production of the electric motor are expensive due to its depleting supply again. Because the rare earth elements, the metals such as lithium, neodymium, terbium, and are all used in production. They're very rare, and the supply is depleting. And also, due to the complexity of manufacturing the electric motors, simple people they can't just work on the cars like normal cars. Very expensive robotic machinery is needed to construct the battery. And brings me to my last point that it is not cost efficient environmentally to own a Prius or a hybrid car. And according to the author, that the Prius costs an average of $325 per mile driven over a lifetime of 100,000 miles. The expected lifespan of a hybrid. However, the Hummer, on the other hand, costs a more fiscal $195 per mile to put on the road for over an expected lifetime of 300,000 miles. That means the Hummer will will last 3 times longer than the Prius and use less combined energy doing it. Furthermore, that in order to offset the price of a new hybrid car, it takes about 5 years for it to actually benefit you in gas prices. And that leads me to my major point again, that the introduction of hybrid vehicles has failed to yield considerable benefits. Thank you.
All right, we start off with a couple of things that are really good. You've got a clear statement of what your proposition is. There's a preview of what the supporting points are going to be. You're signposting that first point pretty clearly, and so structurally it sounds like you're in good shape. However, I think after you got through that first point and when you got to the second point, it seemed like you had multiple secondary issues on that, and they got a little overwhelming. They're stacking up on one another, and I'm not exactly sure that you're consistent in focusing on what that secondary claim is, and so that was a bit problematic. Your evidence, you've got an example when you talk about the Ontario plant. I'm not sure if the rare minerals that are produced in China are the same things that are produced at the Ontario plant, and I know that we're not testing space rovers in China. I don't think that that would go over too well with the Chinese. So it's got to be, that there's some other material that's going on there, and I'm not, the fact of the matter is that it doesn't really sound like it's, if it's just this one particular spot, how dangerous could it be to the environment? You're making an awfully big inference on that. Everything else, I didn't hear any source citations for. I heard some statistical information. I heard some claims of some factual data, or what's supposedly being presented as factual data, but I didn't hear a source on it. At one point, you refer to the author, and I'm going, what author is he talking about, when there's this study comparing the affordability of a Prius or a hybrid, I guess, versus a Hummer. And so it sounds like there's a particular study there, but I didn't get the name of whoever did this study. I didn't get a reference to a date. All I got was a vague reference to what the author concluded on their statistics. And that was the one source citation that you provided. So I think that you need to be much more consistent on that. I thought that you tried to talk to the audience from the beginning. Like I said, when you got into the body of the speech, it was a little bit repetitive, and that was a little bit of a problem. Right at the end, the whole issue about the gas prices and how long it would take to recover the amount of money that you spent up front for the hybrid, you flash through that in 10 seconds, and that's all the development that it gets. And that seems like it would be a pretty important part of your argument. You still have almost a minute and 20 seconds that you could have used to develop that, so why you didn't spend some time on that is unclear also. So it really feels very conclusionary. I thought you started off well being organized, didn't keep that organization as well as you could have, and you need to get your evidence cited more clearly in the speech. All right, thank you.